very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
Really?
Brexit means Brexit.
Why?
I'd rather be dead in a ditch.
China.
What?
China.
What?
China.
We looked at the dining table and saw an opportunity to play with whack.
Strong and stable.
Stood alone last night as
Kipper, you are fake news.
Why?
the reality may be that you don't know what is going on, but people won't be able to tell the difference.
No, not you. Not you. Your organization's terrible.
Why? Just why?
Welcome back to Why Just Why. You are joining us for our 6th and hopefully final episode, at least for now, on Donald J. Trump.
Hey, finally. Let's move on, folks.
Thank fuck for this.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have spent far too long talking about this absolute waste of breath.
Fucking wank bag.
It really is. This is unbelievable. This episode, we are going to pick up where we left off. Kind of. Basically, in the last episode, we were talking about the campaign, how it was pretty nasty. There was some bits and bobs in there that realistically led to him being elected, but it still boggles the mind that he did. But during this episode, he has done so much in terms of random horrible things since he's been president. There's no way we can put them all in here. We could spend episodes upon episodes on each single thing that he's done since he's been president. And the fact that you guys know we record this in advance, I'd just like to point out that if something random has happened in the time since we recorded this to when we put it out now, like for example, he's bullied a 16-year-old on Twitter, or he's saying that blatant disregard for the Constitution and breaking the law doesn't matter, or he's, I don't know, meddled in a Department of Justice trial that's currently ongoing.
These are all possibilities.
They're all possibilities, except he's already fucking done all of that in the past week since we are recording this. This shit has just happened. What the fuck?
He's a muck about, do you know what I mean? This is a president. He's staying prominent and in the media. We've learned this. We've learned that this is his jam. This is
his jam. Yeah. So, if we put this out, and in the past week he's, I don't know, nuked the moon, because at this point, what else could he fucking do?
Oh no, they fire tomorrow.
Oh, they fire tomorrow? Oh, sounds okay. So, if the moon nuking kind of is a success, then let us know, because at this point, it's the past.
He wants to produce radioactive cheese, because apparently the moon's...
Moon cheese, yeah. Because he's done all the rest. He's done all the research. He's done all the best research. And he knows the most.
No one wants to taste that moon cheese.
Right, so this episode's going to take a bit more of a free-form approach. We are going to talk about some of the things that he's done since he's been in office, since he has been, and it still chokes in your throat to say it, the 45th President of the United States of America. We're going to talk about some of the major things he's done, but it's going to be in no real date order, because realistically, God, he's done some shit since he's been there.
Just to mention,
oh my God.
Just to mention, as Craig missed out, Dave and Ian are also here doing this podcast.
Yeah.
We haven't been introduced, but it's okay. Moving on to
We won't take it
I'm
personally.
like, 3 minutes into the episode, we've got no damn introduction.
I'm going to give you a fucking introduction. You always talk for a bit. See this. This is why I never get through a fucking introduction. One of these bastards always interrupts me.
One of these showery
shites. Can't get through an introduction without one of yous giving me loads.
It won't be an introduction without it.
Right.
You want loads.
So, since I was rudely interrupted, as always, to my left is Ian Reynolds.
Yeah, hello, folks.
To my right is Dave Tinsley.
Hello.
And I suppose I'm Craig Taylor, because, can't just fucking do me introductions the way I want to do them. So, yeah, do them your way now. So this is going to be a bit more of a free-form episode. We're just going to chat about some of the things. We're never going to pick them all. I'm sure your favourite Trump gaffe won't be picked, because there's thousands. How many pages of research did you get on this, E?
So just on this one episode, I'm up to about 53 pages, and they are just basically like half pages of stories, and that's not even like stupidly in-depth as you can go. He's just done so much. There's just so much that's happened with him. It's baffling, and I'm not gonna lie, folks, could I fuck be arse reading it all? Like, there's just...
Don't blame you.
That is just what I can find. That's like, I've been taking snippets of this. I mean, and I'm trying to use credible sources as well, like, you know, verifying what I can. But Jesus Christ, that man's been busy.
Oh, that man has been more than busy. One of my sources that I've been using is a website called projectsatthestar.com, and it's a Trump fact check counter. And this is only one of the places I've looked, and they have the counter now up to Donald Trump has said 5,276 false things as US president. That is a conservative estimate.
Can't believe that's actually being counted.
And every single one of them that they've got the full quote, and they've got the actual rebuttal underneath, and they say how many times he's repeated the claim. There is so much stuff that this guy has fucking done since he's been president. It is insane. It started on day one.
Not fucking about.
It's just
not playing games here.
No, his inauguration, the very first thing that you could possibly do as president, the very first thing. He lied about how big it was. He was saying...
I think we've all done that, lads.
He was saying that it was bigger than Obama's.
That's a black man right there.
We knew that was a lie straight away.
It's Obama. That's why Obama's got that big smile. He knows, I got the dick.
You don't care what you say.
I got the dick, and you can have the dick if you want it.
You see his missus, like, when she's always walking with, what do you think? Oh, she can't walk in heels? No, she's just there. She got the dick.
He got the dick, then she got the dick. It starts from the get-go. He's saying that his inauguration, there was a massive crowd. It was the biggest that anyone had ever seen. He was saying about, this is a quote from him as well. I looked at the rain, which just never came. We finished the speech, went inside, and it poured. It was like God was looking down at us at the time. The fact check underneath said the rain began right at the beginning of Trump's speech during the inauguration itself. So he's just completely bullshitting. He's just completely full of bullshit. He's lying about the fucking rain. He's saying the crowd was massive. It was all the way back down to the Washington Monument. No, it wasn't. There's pictures, there's side-by-side pictures of like a quarter of the amount of people at his inauguration than there was at Obama's. When you see the actual... Yeah, there's evidence. You can see it. When you see the picture, the aerial view of the picture of them standing there in front of it, you know when you go to a big event and they put all this like floor tiling down so it doesn't damage the actual floor with loads of people standing around on stuff?
Yeah.
You can still see the floor. Whereas in Obama's one, all you could see was people.
Yeah.
All you could see was people. He claimed that it looked like 1.5 million people and it went all the way back to the Washington Monument. They reckon there wasn't even 500,000 people there. It didn't come close to reaching the Washington Monument. This is stuff that you can actually verifiably fucking look at.
Yeah.
It's not opinions. It's not like something you can't just see.
Yeah, like Google right now.
Yeah.
Go on Google and you will see a picture.
It's fucking there. It's day one. Day fucking one.
Oh, what a hero. he continued to, like, let's start how we mean to go on. Let's wreck this joint.
Let's see what other lies he's got.
Not a lie, it's just his party started, he's in control. So let's do some shit, let's mix some shit up, shall we? So just within a week of being in, he puts in the Muslim ban. Got referred to as different
just a
things.
week in?
Yeah, he was on
literally 7 days.
Yeah.
What?
Got in on the 20th, on the 27th, Muslim ban.
Jesus Christ.
And
yeah,
what
just hammer down, you're not coming in, fuck off, done.
And it was basically, he put in a temporary suspension for people travelling to America, and this affected 7 countries.
What countries were they?
It was Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria and Yemen.
Okay.
Boom, mic drop, bro.
Right.
I'm not going to even pretend that I had them memorised. I was reading them.
Yeah, and the reason he gave behind this, he said, you can't allow Muslims coming in who could potentially be a threat, could be a terrorist or an instigator for terrorism.
Sorry man, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's just like, you think, how many people have been shooting up buildings and stuff recently in the past few years have been white as well?
It's not literally nothing to do with it. That's the whole thing with Trump. He doesn't ever see that.
He's come from that perspective, and he's turning around and he said, these are coming in. It's not like, we're going to investigate them harsh or anything like that. It's quite literally just, ban, they're not coming in. And then he says...
Doesn't stop them getting on the planes. I mean, realistically, the last big terrorists from Muslim countries didn't even land.
But those countries, you could be anywhere, you could go through anywhere else as well. Like, I'm going to say he didn't really think it through properly, but yeah, he didn't really think it through properly.
Yeah.
He just charged at it, and he turned around and he said, you aren't coming in.
It's almost like he's just been told in his first week, oh yeah, put this in.
No, because this is stuff he was promising anyway. In all fairness, like, one thing I will say is, Trump, if you look at half the stuff he has done, as mad as he is, it's stuff he said he was going to do, right? But with politicians, no one's ever used to people.
No, people are shocked
what
that he's actually doing the things that he said he was going to do.
Even there were people who turned around, like, who said, no, I'm here picketing it, turned around and saying it's disgraceful, but at the same time, right, quite literally said he did say he was going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So the person there who said, this is a pile of crap, we shouldn't be doing this, was still turning around saying, he did say he was going to do it. Like, he's still like, fair play, like,
you were kind of warned ahead of time that this was going to happen.
I had the sign already made up. Okay.
Just love the fact that, like, all the lies he's already said, they're happy that he's went along with this thing he said. Out of all the lies he's had before he was president anyway.
Yeah, it's a bit mad, that, isn't it? Because he lies about everything, but then
he becomes president and follows through with some of the ideas he suggests.
Some of the mad ideas that he's cut with.
It's like, that's so weird.
It's mad, lad. It really is. And over time as well. So this happens literally like a week gets in. So January 27th. Takes the oath on the 20th. He's been there 7 days.
He's on it. He's just on it.
Yeah, he's just mad. He got work to do. He's not messing around. Do you know what I mean? He has his weekend off. Right? He had a little party. He has his weekend off. Because there's a lot of people there. Big party. Need that weekend to recover, didn't he?
It's a bend of that.
It's like, realistically, it's like he's got all of these things that's supposed to be happening in his first week. You never see a president do shit in the first week. Yeah. They've got to learn how to be presidents because there's no training for this.
Right. So he's like, you should be learning. You're learning the ropes.
Like sitting listening to reading reports, but then you can imagine he was like bloody.
Doesn't need the reports.
No, you can imagine he was like the one in the Simpsons video. Where he's just like, I was elected to lead, not to read.
Yeah.
Just gets on with it and goes, fuck your report. I don't know what the fuck's in that.
Yeah. Trump's going to do his thing. Got to do my thing, yeah. Trump. So he sits there and he cracks on, but there is obviously a bit of uproar about it. Obviously a lot of uproar about it.
Yeah.
This actually makes it through the district court, it goes through the circuit court, and even gets to the US Supreme Court. And all they really do is make alterations to it. Because they can sit, obviously we can afford alterations to it, but keep it in. So by a year later, April 2018, basically all they've done is kind of just altered a few of the countries that it affects, and then turned around and said they've actually called it a zero tolerance immigration policy. So anyone, if you cannot justify why you should be in America, like you've got a relation there or you've got a job set up or something.
So if you're going on holiday, you couldn't get in.
Essentially, if you can't justify, if you've got no link, so maybe if you've got
if you're on holiday, you're fine. But then as soon as you're going home, if you don't go home and stay there, and you've got no reason to be there, they'll be like, right, get out.
Yeah, so they've just went. With where it's got to from it, you can't fault it. Like that's fine. Like if you're sitting there saying, for just general immigration anyway, as a general immigration law, if you're saying, okay, do you have a job set up here? You're gonna be a burden. You're gonna be thinking. I'm kind of like that, but I think it's funny how it's kind of
trying to get to the point where you've got 100% legal immigration is a fair thing to do, but the US immigration system is, no offense to anyone else US listening, but shit.
Yeah.
It's shit. It's awful. It takes years and years and years to get. It's basically like you've got to get some sort of residency permit, and then you can go for a longer residency permit, then you can go for a green card, then once you've got your green card you can then go for citizenship. But the money that you've got to pump in, the amount of time you've got to wait, half of the time you'll lose your residency before you can even be seen to get a green card. And it is a lot of hoops to jump through, and it's unsurprising that a lot of people fall through the cracks. Even people who are really like legitimate can fall through the cracks unless you've got enough money to then essentially, and it sounds horrible to say it, but every country has got some sort of avenue like this. You've got enough money to essentially just buy a passport, because they will do a fast track citizenship program for you if you are bringing money into the economy that would justify it. So essentially, if you've got a good couple of mil that you can basically just go, give us a passport, and they'll go, okay. But if you're a standard person who just wants to live and work there, you've got to jump through a hell of a lot of hoops, and trying to get to 100% legal immigration is a good thing. But Trump basically just waving the ban hammer around.
Yeah, like if he'd said this about maybe like all countries turning turned around and said, all right, okay, we need to kind of readdress this, make it sharp, so we're going to, I'm putting a bit, hammer down, say no to everyone for the moment until we can actually reaffirm it.
Yeah.
But it's just funny how we turned around and just went, like, no
Get
Muslim.
rid of the darkies.
Yeah, essentially.
Basically.
That's essentially what he said.
It's his approach. He didn't say equally everywhere. He just went, okay, everyone else can come in, but darkies. I mean, you could have like.
I mean, notice the way he wasn't going like, well, my wife was from Czechoslovakia, so we should ban all the Czechoslovakians.
Yeah.
Or,
You can have terrorisms and murderers from any country. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So terrorists.
only-
Sorry.
It was only 20 years ago they were scared of the Russians and the former Soviet Union people, and now they're all scared of the Middle Easterns, so
varies all the time. So
in a couple of years they might be scared of the Australians.
Well, you know,
All those kangaroo bombs.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get essentially what he was trying to do, but obviously Trump being Trump, he goes to the
Too extreme, innit?
goes to the extreme.
0 to a million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But until April, when this zero tolerance actually come out in this over a year period, there wasn't this family connection thing. So hang on, me mum's in there, so I need to come see her, or me kids are there. Do you know what I mean? It was basically no tough shit, sod off.
Wow.
So you've got family members who can't see each other. Maybe like, you know, say you've got someone who lives there who is a dependent. I don't mean like a child, but maybe an elderly person.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get to them. You can't go see them. So say if your parents have moved there, or like child was there and they were like early 20s or something like that, and they might have a career, they risk going home to see their own parents. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was quite messed up. A lot of families went about turmoil over it. A lot of good innocent families.
Yeah. Penalising them, innit?
Yeah, just because the way he went around it. It could have been done better.
Yeah, of
But
course, yeah.
you know, that you can say the whole with Trump's whole career.
So, as we said though, we're not going to kind of do this in chronological order because
Oh yeah, no,
we're just flitting.
Yeah.
So,
Folks, we are just going to float about, just start hitting you with crap now. We're going to start with some more prominent stuff and just throw some random stuff in there.
So I'm going to talk now about the Mueller report. So this is one of the first times that he was actually involved in something that was pretty fucking serious, where he could have gone down for treason.
I don't think I've heard about the Mueller report.
So the Mueller report essentially is, the full thing is report on the investigation into Russian interference into the 2016 presidential election.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yes, of course you have.
Everyone's
It's that punchy title that kind of gives it away. So,
do you know what? There we go. But that did, right?
yeah, that did.
The Mueller report. Nope, never. Nope. I was going to stop and say, I speak to my sister the other day about how, like, so where she works, there's actually a HR department, and part of the HR department is like one woman or two women, and their sole job is to rename things throughout. Just rename titles. That's their job. I shit you not. Right? So to make it either like, you know, more PC or user friendly or whatever. So their intranet, instead of just being the intranet, becomes some like she said it to me, and I can't say it back to you now. It must have been like a good 12, 15 big ass words. And then there's an acronym that they use for it, which didn't say a word. You thought, okay, maybe you've done this to make, say, a sentence or a word. No, this acronym is like, and then PPTTLLN.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Like, so why have you just called the internet?
So is their job the department of making things unnecessarily more complicated?
Could be called that, and if not, that's probably what the next thing's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? This shit exists. Right?
Fuck's sake.
But that's an example of where it works. You just get see the Mueller. Didn't work for me.
I was just thinking of the yogurts.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Mueller corner report.
Now today, the Mueller corner report.
Episode 1. This is crunchy.
My corner was empty.
Right, so back to the Mueller report, or sorry, the report on the investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election.
Ah, yeah.
That one.
Right, okay.
That one. So essentially, everyone kind of had inklings that there was some sort of thing going on with Russia and trying to interfere in the presidential election, but no one really had any idea that Trump was involved until July 2016 because of the foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos. George Papadopoulos. Don't you start laughing, Mr. fucking candidacy.
That's just the name, Papadopoulos. It's proper like ancient Greek type shit.
Yeah. Right, because of the unwitting revelation by foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos that the Trump campaign actually knew before anyone else that the Russians had emails that were stolen from Hillary Clinton. So, dropping the fucking ball there, dickhead, aren't you? So,
Bollock dropped.
Yeah. Oh shit. Everyone knows that we know.
so essentially, the Mueller report started getting kind of initiated around that time. The FBI and a few other bureaus were kind of interested and thinking, has Russia basically just stolen our election? So then certain bureaus start getting involved in this and they start getting interested. And Trump, in just out and out Trumpiness. On the 9th of May 2017, he dismissed the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, James Comey, who had been leading the investigation initially into links between Trump and Russian officials. So he sacked the guy who was trying to do him, which, how can that even be possible? That you can do that. How? But it happened.
It happened.
That's
This is
crazy.
it.
It happened. So, obviously then, Comey gets fired and over 130 Democratic lawmakers in Congress call for a special counsel to be appointed. 8 days after his dismissal, an obstruction of justice charge was opened by the acting director of FBI at the time, Andrew McCabe. And then McCabe was later fired. He confirmed that he'd opened the obstruction investigation and given additional reasons for its launch.
Does Trump still think he's in The Apprentice?
I don't know. Probably.
You're fired.
You're fired. You're looking into me. You're fired. So then this is when Robert Mueller gets appointed as the special counsel and he takes over this to try and get this report done. And this report is to basically look into collusion or coordination between Donald Trump and the Russian government. So not necessarily that he was bought and paid for, but he was kind of doing a you scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of deal. Cutting a long story short, because again, this is something that we could spend forever on.
Yeah.
This report goes on for a year or two. It gets released, and the main takeaway of the report is there is quite a lot of people, and people who actually have worked for Trump in the past, including his own lawyer, who had collusion and who had connections with Russia, including over the construction of Trump Tower Moscow. There are so many links to Trump and Russia, but the report said essentially there is not enough evidence for me to conclusively prove that Trump did anything unlawful. Now that means we know you did something, dickhead, but we can't nail you with it.
It's not solid enough
It's not
to say
solid enough to nail you with it, but we know you did something, you little dickhead. Now Trump, immediately when this gets announced, goes onto Twitter and is like, vindication! I've been completely exonerated. I've been proven innocent. No, you haven't. No, you have not. You were never proven innocent. We just said we couldn't nail you this time, you little shit, and you're getting away with it. But there were multiple arrests and multiple charges of people very close to Trump who were involved in collusion with Russia.
Wow.
So realistically, what's that tell you?
Exactly, yeah.
One of his lawyers as well was the same lawyer who allegedly paid off a porn star, Stormy Daniels, when she came out and said that she'd slept with Trump and then he paid her to keep it quiet.
Yeah, remember that.
So much shit has happened with this guy.
Yes, lad.
I just think the porn star. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he thinks she'd do it better. She's a professional.
Lad, that, like, literally, she's going to be bored shitless because, you know...
Yeah, because he's Trump and he's just going to flop on top of her.
Like, even say if I was my heyday, lad, right? Nothing. She's not going to feel a thing. It's going to do... Turn on why it's going to do nothing for her. Like,
Yeah, because you haven't got a porn star cock.
Right? Like, she's going to be used to, like, all, like, the buffest, biggest men, stuff like that. Just taking it, having the way with it. And she's like... I'll be sitting there going...
Like a chihuahua humping a leg.
And she'd be like... Fuck's sakes. It's going to be no good for no one, is
Hips
it?
just going in.
She's not touching the sides.
I couldn't sell me on that one. I'd be like, we're both going to walk away disappointed. Do you know what I mean? And it's bad enough to walk away with one of us disappointed. I'm used to that now. Right? But, you know, me being disappointed as well, that's a step too far.
Yeah, so the other thing as well that he did with his travel bans, he also oversaw families being split apart at the United States and Mexican border.
He oversaw that with glee.
Definitely oversaw that with glee. Basically, what was happening was illegal immigrants were getting caught and they were getting sent back over the border. But at the detention centres, they were splitting up kids from their families because there's got certain restrictions on what you can and can't do with children. So they were just literally taking them from their parents.
Yeah.
There was videos of small kids, young as 3-4 years old, getting dragged out of their parents' hands at the border. It's just
disgusting.
fucking
They were
hard.
dressed as Fagin out of Oliver Twist as well.
Yeah. Hey sir, can I have some more?
I couldn't physically do that though.
I couldn't be one of
Like-
those border guards.
That says a lot about themselves, really, even as the border guards. Because if I worked for my boss turned around and said to me, because in the day it's a job,
Yeah,
right?
it's a job.
If someone said to me, "But like, take that kid off that parent," I'd be like, "No, off that person, he's a pedo." Okay. No, but if you take kid off that parent, I'd be like, "No."
And can you imagine when you actually did it as well? Can you imagine the look on that kid's face?
Lad,
I couldn't do it.
you gotta go home. You gotta go home, face your own kids.
Yeah, face yourself. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror after doing that.
Gotta go home, face your own kids. I wish someone would do that to you.
He's messing when you just look in the mirror and just go, another job done.
Oh, the wife's gonna be proud.
Had a great day today.
They cried and cried.
The sounds of joy.
I filled up my water bottle with their tears. It keeps me young.
Right. So Trump also had a little thing with Kim Jong Un, didn't he?
I think that was
Yes.
more of a little thing.
Yeah, little
That was
mandates
like,
going on.
yeah.
There was some lovers' quarrels.
Is this with the is this with the peace talks and stuff?
Yeah, well, so how it all started really in August 2017. So he hasn't been in charge that long. Anyway, he's only been in charge for a couple of months. No,
Yeah, a couple of
9
months.
months, yeah, something like that. So he's had 9 months in charge, and then it's found out that Korea. The strong intel would suggest that Korea is able to miniaturise nuclear warheads.
Remember that, yeah.
But currently at that point they didn't have the projectile technology that would allow them to reach America.
Yeah, so they didn't have the right delivery method.
Amazon.
Right away. Yes, lad.
No, but weren't North Korea actually firing missiles as well, just into the sea,
So-
just to see how far they
They
could
had
go?
like
This was
short range ones. They didn't really have massively long range ones at this point.
Was it like Japan, like, oh, another comet?
This would be a little bit later on, because what happened then, it started like the whole Twitter crap. That was basically, then it got warned that there could be as many as 60 of these nuclear warheads actually created. So then Trump went, obviously, gets to Trump, as it would do.
Trump does what Trump does best.
He instantly started responding with that North Korea will be met with fire and fury. The US military was locked and loaded to meet him. Not like, okay, should we look into this further or should we do this on the hush hush? No. Sod this. I'm just going to start posting shit and start calling the bastard out. Right?
He is
Go on,
literally.
Trump.
I know part of me is like, fair enough, yeah, nice.
No, he's like literally the diplomacy for him. It's not even a word. He's just like,
The fuck are you? I have Twitter.
There's no grace, is there? There's not like that, was it? Softly catchy monkey.
Yeah, no subtlety in the world.
Do you think some of his aides or whatever you call them come up to him and go, Donald, have you seen what's happening on Twitter?
I think there's some people, yeah.
And then he reads it, but there's people who are dead on like, oh, I've got to tell the president this. Oh, I'm so excited.
Just waiting until all these things.
Yeah. What's he going to say? Oh, I'm so excited.
I reckon there's a lot of military advisors within the government now who have basically had multiple heart attacks since Trump has come in, because every time something happens, he will react in literally the worst possible way
Yeah.
and fuck it up for everyone.
Yeah.
Dick!
Yes, Dick. It was like, what was he calling him? The angry little rocket man or something over Twitter?
Yeah, essentially. That's exactly what I'm up to. yeah. Nicely done, sir.
Nicely segued. It's almost as if I have done the research too.
Dun, dun, dun. Mind blown. Just before that happened, a couple of days before, what was actually going on was a little tit for tat with Trump and Kim Jong-un. A little, you know what I mean, like, oh, well, we won't do that. Like, kind of fucking boyish, you know, I'll bring it on, all this shite. And then next thing, that's when Korea starts launching missiles, and they actually launch one over Japan.
Yeah.
At this point, so that's when Trump responds.
That'd be shit scary, that, wouldn't it, though? You're just going
Japan.
to where and,
Well, especially for Japan.
good job it's only a firework.
Well, think about it. This is especially for Japan, the only country that has ever actually been fucking nuked.
I was like, not again!
It's like literally the one place which has very good reason to be fucking scared.
Yeah. Well, should be used to it, now, shouldn't
Oh my god, people are just getting flashbacks.
they? Yeah. Oh,
The alarms are all going off.
that must have been so bad, that though.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How end do we go?
Yeah.
I mean, realistically as well, that could have been avoided. The escalation could have been avoided. It has been avoided before when Kim Jong-un's dad was in, Kim Jong-il, and they managed to de-escalate things, but then Trump is not a de-escalator. Trump doesn't do calming down.
No, it doesn't. And his response to that was to call him the Rocket Man. That was like, we just said, he said,
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man. So we done this. He starts taking the piss a little bit more, and then said, you know, we will totally destroy North Korea, and then starts actually putting more sanctions. Everyone knows there's already sanctions in place against trade and stuff like that with North Korea anyway, and he starts to basically tighten the belt, starts to implement more sanctions. A couple of days later, obviously, you know, there's a bit back and forth still going, and then he adds even more sanctions on, and this is just going back and forth, tit for tat. And then about a week later, North Korea come into communications. They turn North Korea and America start in communications.
Yeah, this is the craziest thing that happened.
It's weird how it's gone from, like, aggression with these two countries as well to, like, let's meet up.
Yeah, they realise they ain't going to get anywhere. Like, you know, they both like two little sods spitting the dummies out.
Yeah. It's like, I'll see you outside at 3 o'clock in the playground, yeah, come on, and let's have it.
Yeah. It's like they both go, kicking off, and
then the
like,
mates actually let go of them, and then they both kind of just go, what are you starting for?
Yeah.
What are you starting for? Yeah. I'm starting because you're starting. Well, I didn't start first. Yeah, you did. You started first. No, you did. Well, I don't really want to start. Well, neither do I.
So we got the door, bro.
Do you want to go play Pokemon?
I've done that. So at this point, like they openly say, we're looking for a non-military path forward to try and resolve these issues. And now at this point as well, the CIA are warning that North Korea is actually in its final steps of putting up bases where they could actually reach America.
Yeah.
So it's actually getting quite close. That's about October. A few months later, you got the Winter Olympics in South Korea. Like, so you've got all this crap going on. South Korea opens up to North Korea and says, be in the Winter Olympics, join us. Let's get a bit of peace going here, right? Let's settle it down a little
fair
bit.
Play, yeah. That's quite cool.
I bet if anyone knows a bit about it or watched a bit about that, it was a nice moment.
Yeah.
And
did they actually join then, North Korea?
Yeah.
Did they?
It was interesting. I believe, yeah.
Was that the Jamaican bobsleigh team? Did you weren't prepared?
Yeah, they were prepared. It was weird though because they had like their own like cheerleaders and stuff, and it's like fans.
Sanctioned fans.
Yeah.
Government sanctioned fans.
It
like
was
Mormons, really, aren't they?
You can only celebrate in the government sanctioned way.
Yeah, it was set songs and praises or whatever crap. They're all acted the same way. They're all dressed the same way.
Yeah.
It was kind of like they were like part of the team. Really,
it is funny though with some of them. It's like they've taken part in stuff like this before, and then their entire teams have basically just gone, "What's that over there?" and then fucked off. As soon as they're being taken to some other country,
freedom.
It's just like all the athletes are like,
they never come back.
"Oh look, a blimp, bye."
It's got to make sure you take your families with you, don't you?
So the guards, literally the guards that they had, their team was just like constantly watching them going, "You're not fucking going
They
anywhere."
probably were the fans, weren't they? The fans are the
Fans are all military, like, "You're not going fucking anywhere."
They actually were really well choreographed, weren't they? So like proper military, in sync type. They actually, in all fairness, North Korea, they turn around and they approach American, you say, well, we're talking to South Korea. Let's get back in communication again. You know, let's start trying to resolve some more stuff.
Yeah.
And then North Korea now, after these communications, these start to move in the line of denuclearization for North Korea. And North Korea said, okay, we'll drop down like... well, at first North Korea said there's no chance we're going to do complete nuclearization. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
We'll cut down a little bit as long as you drop off on your sanctions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Loosen the belt a little
So
bit.
it's some sort of deal.
Yeah.
At least they're talking, realistically. This is
Yeah.
one of the first times in fucking forever that they've actually been speaking.
And so the response to this, Donald posts. He believed that to be a complete denuclearization of North Korea, and it will be done very quickly. Even though they're saying, no, we won't go half the
not
way.
going complete, yeah.
He's posting to everyone that's saying that, no, they said it.
It's up to his old tricks again, isn't he?
Yeah.
Doing
Basically,
what
yeah.
he does best. And it's to be fair, that must have been brilliant for him, that.
Everyone
To be
was
honest.
like, oh my god, out of any world leader that there has ever been, why did it have to be
Why-
Trump
yeah.
who's actually managed to get North Korea to the table?
But look how favourably that looked.
Well, it did look, until it came out that North Korea didn't say that at all, and they
Yeah.
were just like, no.
No, that's not
That's not how
what-
this goes.
Yeah.
But then again, this is one of the weird things: is that realistically, he's actually still been talking to him. It's odd. They've got like some sort of weird understanding of let's talk. He seems to get on well with dictators.
You see, his response to this as well. So right now, they've kind of agreed to demilitarize their nuclear. So the agreement they've come to, they're going to demilitarize their nuclear program, but still have a nuclear program.
'Cause, I mean, there's loads of civilians out there who've got the A-bomb.
And then Trump's response to this as well. Sometimes you have to walk before you can run. Well,
It's
yeah,
just-
before you can run. But, like it's the maddest thing because you've essentially went from I don't know nothing to nothing.
Yeah. There's been a lot of kind of
It just
pandering, a lot of peacocking, and then a lot of nothing.
Yeah, so they both basically kicked off, got to the point nearly where war was going to kick out. CIA were actually really concerned, saying like this is like shit's going to kick off because even if they can't reach us, they'll just probably go nuts and start firing everywhere else.
Yeah.
Anyone else who they can reach, who they feel have wronged them.
Which is all of our allies, so we're then going to have to wait in anyway.
Yeah,
Most likely Japan by the looks of it.
do you know what I mean? So the
Japan, South Korea,
South Korea, yeah. Of course.
half of Europe. I mean, they couldn't. I don't think they can get as far as us, but they could easily get as far as like Spain, Germany.
Oh yeah. So they were threatening this, and it was literally getting to that point where they might actually do this, and Trump's still poking the bear. Like
Because he's Trump.
I get don't bow down to him, but he didn't have to go poke the bear.
There's backing down, and then there's like,
he walked over and hit the
screw
bear
you.
in the head of a stick. Like he literally went.
He's
he
been
went,
walking up to the bear and flicking him in the spuds.
Yeah.
He's just like, what are you doing, bitch?
I mean, I don't. Maybe it kind of worked, but in all fairness, it's not like the US are allowed in to go, and invest everywhere and say, are you demilitarizing your nuclear
program?
Nuclear program. So you're just going off Kim Jong Un's word. So essentially, you've got reports of they're getting close, and then all this near kick off, and Kim Jong Un goes, "Okay, I'll stop now," and Trump goes, "I've done my job."
Yeah.
like
Taking full credit.
Yeah. Kim Jong Un's looking at him, going, "I'm not stopping you, tit." No
I'm
chance.
just saying I'm stopping.
But he's
You
just
fucking
like,
idiot.
my job here is done, folks.
It's like, I'm fucking amazing.
It was a mad time with him.
Yeah, it was a strange one though.
There's so much random shit that he's done, like the Charlottesville riots. So we'll quickly mention that.
Yeah.
There was a load of alt-right, basically neo-Nazis. This massive riot started. People did get really seriously hurt and died. And his response to that was, well, I mean, there's good people on both sides. It's like, how much does it take to not condemn publicly Nazis? I mean, like actual, not like, oh, they're kind of like Nazis. No, literally. Actual fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
How can you not turn around and go, those Nazi guys? Kind of bad news. That's all he had to say.
Yeah.
No, there's good people on both sides. No, there isn't. What the fucking isn't?
That wasn't the first time with the Nazis, was it? During his election, and he was being like openly supported by like the KKK and neo-Nazi parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they were really getting behind Trump. He kind of just sat. Everyone's like, "Are you good with all these people supporting you? Are you good?" And he went, "Yeah, they can do what they want."
People support.
Yeah, people support these people are Americans Republicans and they can support who do you want.
It's not surprising, really.
He
to be
just
honest.
he gives no fucks.
Yeah,
he gives
just doesn't
absolute
care.
no fucks. It's like one of the big ones as well. Relatively recently, was he pulled all of the troops out of Syria who were there to fight ISIS, and they were there to support the Kurdish troops. And he basically they've been allies to the Western world for years. They fight against all kinds of like extremist Muslim sects and all kinds of stuff like that. They've been brilliant allies, but Turkey hates the Kurds. So by pulling out of Syria in the way he did, he basically opened the door for President Erdogan of Turkey to wade into Syria and clean house. He left our allies who've been fighting with us through this whole thing against ISIS and even some parts into like Al Qaeda and everything, and he just left them there. So the Turkey can come in and wipe them out, and he just walked away. There's videos on how quick this pullout happened. There's videos of people who are just walking into American military bases because they've been abandoned, and there are mess halls with fridges still stocked full of coke that are switched on. The generators are still running. The stuff's still there. They left it all. They literally just packed up, got in the cars, fucked off. Everyone went.
Was there some sort of deal going on to make that happen?
I don't know. No one seems to know why he did it the way he did. He just went, right, we're coming out of Syria. Okay, get everyone out. Get everyone out now. And they just did. Everyone left.
Is there any British troops still down there?
There was still British troops around, but it's the way Trump does stuff is it's knee jerk and it's quick and it's total. There's no let's see if this works. There's no like let's see what we can do. It's I'm doing this. This is happening.
Yeah, he makes a decision. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
And in that series, I mean, people died. A lot of people died because of that, and because of the way they pulled out. An actual prison camp containing ISIS terrorists got left and overrun, and they all escaped. This is it's literally down to Trump. That is Trump's actions right there. And all of his generals were like, "Do not do this. Do not do this. Please do not do this. Get everyone out." He doesn't listen to anyone. Once he's got it in his head, he just goes, "No, get him out."
He doesn't need a team around him. Like, having a team around him, no one giving he doesn't want advice. He literally just wants, give me a bit of information and I'll make a decision.
It's his way or no way, isn't it?
Yeah. His advisors have even said if they can't dumb it down to basically fit on the back of a napkin, there's no point in bringing it to him because he just won't look at it. He'll just go, "Don't care."
I've heard from people of management, you're being precise, you're cutting to it, to the main information, you're just going around the world. And I've heard this loads of times. No, there's just more than just like 2 bits of information. There's a lot of information out there, and you need to know it all to actually make an appropriate decision.
Get the big picture.
Yeah. It's quite a common thing, like, for people to get high up who don't have the time and the effort to sit there and listen or take in a lot of information. It's just basically snap decision. Let's go with that.
It's having the balls to be dismissive a lot to people, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, just completely ignore what's going on and then just do what they want anyway.
Just crack on, do your own thing. Fuck it, let's have it.
Yeah.
Well, here's another one as well. He lost a government shutdown fight. So this was in 2018. He basically wouldn't approve a budget. So as soon as that budget then doesn't get approval, it doesn't go through, the whole of the government, except for essential services, shuts the fuck down. So nobody who works for the government gets paid at all. So you're talking anyone who works in a national park, anyone who works in a federal building, anything like that, none of the fuckers get paid. And they won't get paid until the budget gets approved and moved on.
So
and
they
this
just stayed
was
off work,
well, no, a lot of them still went to work because
Yeah.
it was essential services. And if they
You
didn't do
can't
it,
just stop it,
things had just shut down, so they just took the hit and didn't get paid.
Wow.
And this was over his border wall. So essentially, the Appropriations Committee approved 1.6 billion for 65 miles of border fencing. Now think about that. That's 65 miles worth of fencing cost 1.6 billion. How much is it gonna cost to do the entire border between the US and Mexico?
I'm not being funny. I could go to B&Q and get it done for a quarter of that place.
They gave 1.6 billion. Instead of taking the deal, Trump shut down the government and demanded 5.7 billion. After the stupid amount of months that this went on for no reason, he ended up with less than he would have got in the first place, which was 1.38 billion. And then he told everyone, "Oh look, I've won." Because that's what he does. And then to add insult to injury, he used emergency authority. So he basically declared a state of emergency, which never gets done unless it's essentially a world-ending disaster or like the Russians invade. He used the National Emergencies Act to find funds to do his will. He basically just went around them anyway. He's a... so he declared a state of emergency, or he declared a national emergency. so he could build the wall along the southern border. And under the declaration, he was going to divert $8 billion from federal accounts to build the barrier. After all that shit, after all that amount of people suffered, he declared a state of emergency and abused his fucking power in order to just build it without their approval whatsoever.
It's mad that, like.
He's just
The,
such a dick.
Do you think how many people he's messed over by now? Do you think he'll get in again?
I think he'll get in again.
Yeah.
I'm almost certain he'll get in again.
It's like we said before with the amount of votes that he actually won by. It's those electors within those areas, the Central America, that are going to get voted in again. Do you know what I mean? That's where the votes are going to go again. It's the same people from that same mindset that are voting for him, and he's proactively doing stuff that he said he's going to do. That actually just reaffirms how they feel about him.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
they're more
he's
likely.
He's appealed to them, hasn't he, in his run?
He's appealed to them. He's holding on to them. He said, well, you know, these are the guys who put me in there. I'm not soft. I'm literally going to charge your head, and I'm going to do stuff which I've said I'm going to do. And they're going to go, well, actually, this is a politician who was weird. Things might not have always turned out the way he wants it. But then the fact that he's even turning around like and just starting on like Kim Jong-un and stuff like that. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, he's no nonsense. He's calling shit. Yeah, but he could just start a war and take thousands, you know, fucking millions of lives.
Just drag everyone in it, yeah.
Yeah, like no shit's given. No tact to him. Gun ho. But you know, some people like that mentality. Some people don't always see the bigger picture, and it's probably those people who voted for him in the past and are more than likely probably going to vote again for him.
Yeah.
The thing with Trump as well is that if you look at literally the amount of things that he does so quickly, the last big thing is forgotten by the next big thing, and that's forgotten by the next thing, and that's forgotten by the next thing. There's so much stuff that happens, no one can remember what's going on. When I was researching, I was like, oh my god, he did that as well. Oh my god, when did he do that?
Yeah.
And you find stuff that you think, did I even hear about that? I must have, because I remember it, and it was like...
There's just snippets, like literally after stuff. There's no way we could cover we're covering like snippets of his life.
Here we go. Here's a couple. I'll blast a few at you. So he turned around and he said that no transgenders were allowed in the military without going towards any of his military advisors. He just did it for no apparent reason other than he felt like it. He stated that the country lost $817 billion on trade when that was bullshit because he wasn't counting the trade brought in. The country's only ever been at the biggest, a $566 billion deficit. He did a conference on the wind one that was only the other day. It's a bloody joke. He's sitting there saying that.
Can we play this now? Can we play this for the people?
Yeah, sorry. We'll play it. We'll play it now.
We'll have an economy based on wind. I never understood wind. You know, I know windmills very much. I've studied it better than anybody. I know it's very expensive. They're made in China and Germany mostly. Very few made here, almost none. But they're manufactured tremendous, if you're into this, tremendous fumes, gases are spewing into the atmosphere. You know, we have a world, right? So the world is tiny compared to the universe. So tremendous amount of fumes and everything. You talk about the carbon footprint. Fumes are spewing into the air, right? Spewing. Whether it's in China, Germany, it's going into the air. It's our air, their air, everything, right? So they make these things, and then they put them up. And if you own a house within vision of some of these monsters, your house is worth 50% of the price. They're noisy. They kill the birds. You want to see a bird graveyard? You just go. Take a look. A bird graveyard? Go under a windmill someday. You'll see more birds than you've ever seen ever in your life. You know, in California, they were killing the bald eagle. If you shoot a bald eagle, they want to put you in jail for 10 years. A windmill will kill many bald eagles. It's true. And you know what? After a certain number, they make you turn the windmill off. That's true, by the way. They make you turn it off after you. And yet, if you killed one, they put you in jail. That's okay. But why is it okay for these windmills to destroy the bird population? And that's what they're doing. I'll tell you another thing about windmills. And I like all forms of energy. And I think really they're okay in industrial areas, like you have an industrial plant, you put up a windmill, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I've seen the most beautiful fields, farms, most gorgeous things you've ever seen. And then you have these ugly things going up. And sometimes they're made by different companies. You know, I'm like a perfectionist. I really built good stuff. And so you'll see like a few windmills made by one company, General Electric. And then you'll see a few made by Siemens. And you'll see a few made by some other guy that doesn't have 10 cents. It looks like. So you see all these windmills. They're all different shades of color. They're like sort of white, but one's like an orange white. It's my favorite color, orange. And you see these magnificent fields, and they're ruined. And you know what they don't tell you about windmills? After 10 years, they look like hell. You know, they start to get tired, old. You got to replace them. A lot of times people don't replace them. They need massive subsidy from the government in order to make it. No, we're doing it right. We're doing it right. And, you know, our numbers environmentally right now are better than they've ever been before, just so you know. Because I'm an environmentalist. I am. I want the cleanest water on the planet. I want the cleanest air anywhere.
How much of a joke is that? How much of a fucking joke is that? The guy literally just sits there and says he knows nothing about wind. But I'm the best and done the most research on wind.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
No one quite knows wind like me.
No one knows wind like him. No. But this is the point, is that he's saying that windmills are death machines and they pollute more than they save. No, they fucking don't.
Yeah,
Think of the Eagles. Think of the Eagles,
Think of the
guys.
Eagles. Right, here's another one. He started putting trade tariffs on China because he was scared that Chinese imports were affecting American businesses. He obviously doesn't recognise what those tariffs mean, is that the people who are in the US pay more for Chinese goods. So all of the businesses who rely on Chinese imports now have to pay more to the government. Not China. China don't have to pay. Your own people do.
Now they have to charge their customers more. The customers probably won't be able to shop there or will shop elsewhere.
Yeah.
Businesses will close down. People will lose jobs.
He pulled out of the Paris Climate Accords, which were supposed to be designed to stop us falling into a global fucking meltdown. And he just went, nah.
So he's pulled out that so you can have their production can increase.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard much with regards to their production. Are they producing vast amounts of coal now? Are they?
He's opened up, I think it was 3 coal mines that were previously closed, and they are producing slightly more than they were, but the vast majority of everything still gets imported from China. It's made no difference in terms of the grand scheme of things. In terms of production, what it has made a difference of is it's deregulated the producers who were already producing. It hasn't helped them expand. It's just meant that they've got more money because they don't have to scrub the air as much.
Oh yeah. You think you do hear about local little towns and stuff like that who are having their water
Oh god, yeah.
poisoned because you know these big facilities aren't cleaning it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're using. They don't have to be as careful with how they get rid of their waste, or even the water natural water that they use as it comes back out to the facility. It's not being cleaned.
No.
It's not filtered or nothing, is it?
And then you can talk about all of the thoughts and prayers that he's sent out for victims of gun crime when he's had the power to do something about it for years. As he just keeps on saying, well, you can keep your guns because guess who votes him in? Gun owners.
You can picture it right with an AK-47 in each hand going, firing him in the air going, these are shots off for all the people who lost their lives.
I want to give a 21 gun salute to all the victims in the last mass shooting that we had.
Oh my god, that's so bad.
He'd probably do it. He would probably fucking do it.
Definitely.
Trump has claimed that in the UK, our healthcare is so bad, people are dying on gurneys and they can't afford to pay for their healthcare. We don't pay for healthcare. Ours is paid for. We have the NHS. It's the claims that he makes are mind-boggling.
Who's dying on gurneys and all?
I know.
Who, like, what?
It's just so nonsense, isn't it?
Even is health
put them outside.
Yeah, you put them outside. Let them out there. His big thing about socialised healthcare, he said, you can't have the doctor that you choose. The government chooses that for you. You can't go to the hospital you choose. The government will tell you to go hundreds of miles away just because that one's free. No, That is not how any of this works. That is not how any of this works. That's how your system works.
Yeah.
Because under insurance and under health insurance, say you're with a company like Kaiser Permanente, they might not have a hospital local to you. So if you're in the shit, they might still send you 50 miles down the road before you'll get treated, even though you're paying for it. It's
scary, their system, though.
It's I'd love to do a podcast on their health system, but it's so deep. You could dive into that.
I've known like quite a few Yanks and to come over here to study and stuff like that, and they don't have to be here long. When something goes wrong and they just go to the hospital and get sorted. Like at first they go, no, our system works. Now in all fairness, to come over here, not always, but usually they've got a bit of money anyway, because obviously the fees for international study, are quite high. Not all, some of them work hard, save up, and then come over here. A lot of them weren't totally up to date with like, what's the big difference? Our system works until something goes wrong. It might only be a small thing, and you have to go to our doctors, or you have to go to the local GP, or go to hospital to for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then they suddenly change the tune and go, oh my god, our system sucks.
Yeah. They seem better.
Yeah, if I don't have to pay, don't have to get moved around, don't have to go jump through all these hoops. I literally just walk in, get seen, get treated, and the only thing I have to do is put a little bit back to get me prescription. Just a little bit. Yeah. A little token back just to get me prescription that I might need. That's friggin' amazing.
They're not getting asked what insurance they're on before they get asked the name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you can get, like, I think it was me granddad, I'm going to say. It was me granddad. When an ambulance came up to get him, they asked me nan for the insurance card. I think that was the story, right? I think it's me nan and me granddad. I'm going to go with that. Okay. Right? But they actually asked, they got him on a gurney, and the first thing they do before they even actually finish putting them into the ambulance was...
Can you pay for this?
Yeah, which insurance, which nan's that, like, right from through a card, like. I know my dad telling me the story.
Yeah.
I can't remember, I'm going to say nan, granddad, I haven't got a freaking clue.
Yeah.
How mad's that?
Well, a lad I know went to America, and he was doing Camp America, so he was helping out in the camps and stuff like that, and he got himself a bit too far gone. He ended up like being sick everywhere, but he got taken to hospital in case he had alcohol poisoning, so pumped his stomach, sent him on his way the next day. He was fine, hunky-dory. Obviously he deserves to have something because he got himself into that state, but he had to pay back £4,500 for one night and some activated charcoal, and he had travel insurance. That was the excess on top that the travel insurance didn't cover. And he left the country without paying it all, but if he ever wants to go back to America, which he did, he had to pay it back before they'd let him back in. That was part of his visa conditions. Yeah.
That's disgusting. That I think it's medical treatment should be like
medical
basic human rights.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to pay for medical treatment if it's going to save your life. I would rather what we've got now, where we pay taxes and that pays for my medical treatment.
Yeah, I would quite happily pay more tax to go towards medical treatment.
It's less hassle that way as well. Yeah. In general, anyway, for the whole system.
I would happily.
Imagine if you didn't do. Imagine you need insurance for like police or fire brigade or the whole system doesn't work. There's basic things that humans need for society to operate.
If I came to mug you right now and I was holding a gun to your face and there was a copper over the road and he went, I'll help you, but have you got insurance? Yeah. But can you imagine a world like that? Why is it different for healthcare? Why is it different? I just don't understand it. I've never understood it.
But rich people as well, they go under. Just, maybe a loved one has a crippling disease and they can literally lose everything, go under, just paying hospital bills. Yeah. And that's a millionaire. Like, what chances?
Hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s a month can go on to medical bills. Yeah. It's insane how much it can cost. And, I mean, I'd happily say right now, because I pay taxes anyway, and I would happily pay more tax for the NHS. But not only that, I could be healthy my entire life and I would not regret paying 1 penny into that NHS.
Not a penny.
Even if I'd never fucking used it, because I know full well that people around me, my loved ones, people I've never met, have benefited from that system. And realistically, it's only right and fair that we should do so. And I still don't understand how America is one of the only civilized Western countries, may even be the only civilized Western country left without centralized, free at point of care healthcare.
Isn't there 1 or 2 states now that do that? Or are they just pushing for it at the moment?
They're pushing for it and they've got like more free clinics and stuff. But I mean, Canada's got it. Canada's got free healthcare. People go to Canada and literally marry a Canadian just so they can have free healthcare.
That's why
live on the border.
That's why Canadians, you always see like jokes and stuff like that on stuff like where on shows where Americans are going like, oh, who wants to go, to border control of Canada? Why are you being so strict to get in? Like, who wants to go to Canada? But literally for that, to protect that, let's protect because obviously
The abuse of the free healthcare.
I don't begrudge if they turn around and said, in Britain, which you really should do, is after you receive medical treatment, what is your NHS number, who are you, what have you, travel insurance and all stuff like this, if you're not a permanent resident. I don't even think we do that ourselves. Like generally, it's not like I've ever been. It's not.
Anyone, don't we?
The first and foremost thing that happens in anywhere which has got universal healthcare is you treat them and worry about everything else later.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. Mexico has public healthcare. America doesn't. How is it that the richest nation on the planet doesn't have public healthcare? It's crazy.
They must be getting a lot of money through it.
That's big business.
Medical and pharmaceutical companies in America print money, like absolutely print money. They rinse it up, lad. Do you know what? I just realised this debate has just went completely off key.
Oh yeah. I mean, right? Okay, we'll leave that there. But again, back to Trump. Back to Trump. Have we got any other little ones that we can just pull out? Even random stuff, like when he tweeted covfefe and no one had a clue what the hell it meant. Covfefe. Did you never see the covfefe one?
No.
Right, so his tweet was, despite the constant negative press covfefe.
What's that mean?
He was trying to say coverage.
Oh.
But he typed covfefe, covfefe, and no one had a clue what the fuck he was trying to say.
I just rocked it anyway, because if I was sending a text, I generally proofread. If you're as anybody, I'm not even just like a politician. Like he is the prime. I was going to say prime minister again.
You want to
yeah. He is the president of the United States. You're posting out not to just some people. You're posting out to the world. Proofread your shit, lad.
It's just not asked. Is it?
No fucks to be given.
No.
That just shows his mentality. Like literally, if we were to mention if you've heard nothing for the last few Willie podcasts, just take this one little snippet, right, and that sums the fella up. That's how his mind operates. No fucks given. No fucks be given. Fuck y'all. One life, bro.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
It's just, again, let's just pick one at random. So I've just gone on to Donald Trump's Twitter right now, and we have, last week, the fake news said that a section of our powerful under construction southern border wall fell over, trying to make it sound terrible. Except the reason was the concrete foundation was just poured and soaking wet, and big winds kicked in. Quickly fixed. Forever. But did it fall over though? Because if that's what they said and it fell over, then it fell over.
Yeah.
It still fell over.
Yeah, it still fell.
It still fell over. The one directly underneath it, getting ready to go to the Daytona 500. This'll be great. He's just... It's like reading a 16-year-old's
blog.
Blog. But then it's
just getting in the shower.
His entire thought process is just out there for everyone to see. And then some of the stuff that he retweets, he just picks random crap. He's retweeted the KKK before now. He's retweeted Britain First. He doesn't know what he's doing. He really doesn't know what he's doing. He's nuts.
Do you know what it reminds me kind of Churchill, who just kind of went, with the whole two fingers.
Oh, yeah.
He's seen something he liked and just ran with it. Like, didn't he have a freaking piece stickhead the other way?
Yeah.
How can you? Not being funny. Like that goes back to medieval times. The two fingers. Yeah. That was from the time of when we were saying to the French, the archers used to say, because they used to cut the fingers off. That was civil. That was what's it called? Chivalry. That was. Yeah. So they cut the fingers off, so they weren't able to
pull the bow.
Yeah, to pull the bow back anymore. Not kill them. No need to kill them. Why? Because you're not a knight. We only kill knights. So I'll just chop your fingers off. Not all of them, not your hand. I like very just the fingers so you can't pull the bow back. Yeah. And then be on our way. Right? So they used to say, come and get them. Yeah. Like, that's a very British thing. If you're not British, there's no way you're not going to know that. And as someone who used to be the Prime Minister of Britain, that's a very British thing you should know. And how can you not know that and not know the difference between that and peace? I'm going to rant against Churchill now, right? I'll be all day if I start ranting against Churchill. Once again, different topic.
I
know, yeah. Right?
Yeah, back to
it. We are going to sum up now with the impeachment.
Yeah, we couldn't talk about this without the impeachment, let's be fair. I mean, for God's sake, this man seems to get away with everything, and the impeachment's just proving it again. He's literally being caught asking another government power to meddle in his own government's election, which is essentially the second time in the same fucking term of presidency that he has been accused of the same fucking thing, because that's what he was basically accused of with Russia and the Mueller report. Only this time, everyone can see the fucking transcript and see that he actually fucking did it.
Also, everyone knows a lot more now as well, so more people are onto it.
He literally turned around to President Zelensky of the Ukraine and said, I need you to do an investigation into one of my major political rivals, or I'm not going to give you any aid. That is basically it. In a nutshell.
Word for word.
But he still got away with it.
Not only has he got away, it's gotten to the point now where there was a little meme, and I'll see if I can find it and post it up on our Twitter, but it's basically a picture of the American flag, and it slowly starts dissolving to show a Nazi flag underneath. And in each stage it goes, I didn't do it. It's like, oh well, it might have happened, but not the way you said it did. And then the next stage is like, well, it might have happened, but it didn't really do anything wrong. And then the next stage is like, well, yeah, we did it, but it's okay, because we're not going to do it again. And the next stage is like, yeah, we did it, what are you going to do about it? And that's kind of like what all of the Republicans are like with this impeachment. Quickly, we've kind of run on, but I'll quickly explain basically what happened with the impeachment. So this phone call happened between Donald and the President Zelensky of the Ukraine, where he asked him to look into Joe Biden's son and to try and see if he could get him on charges of corruption. Joe Biden's son did some work in the Ukraine. In return for this, he would give the Ukraine some financial aid. Yeah, that is very, very illegal, because that is essentially tit for tat. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, but it's not in the best end. Yeah, it's a bribe. It's not in the best interest of the country. It's in the best interest of the president.
Yeah,
that's why it's illegal.
Yeah.
Now they have evidence. They have all of this. So the Senate and all of the Senate is controlled by the Democrats, and this is the point where you realise that American politics is kind of broken, is because in order to impeach a sitting president, you have to provide evidence that there has been legal wrongdoing, and it has to pass through both houses, both the Senate and through Congress. Now, because the Senate is controlled by the Democrats, obviously they saw the evidence, voted to impeach Donald Trump and start impeachment proceedings. The trial then goes through Congress. Now, unfortunately, the way this trial happens isn't through impartial judges, it isn't through a jury, it's through all of the congressmen in Congress, and they all have to take a vow to act as impartial judges and look at the merits of the case. What everyone kind of knew was going to happen is that all of the Republicans were going to vote not to impeach Donald Trump, and all of the Democrats were going to vote to impeach Donald Trump. What actually happened was even worse than that, because when they were looking at the trial itself, all of the Republicans and the leader of the House blocked evidence and witnesses for the prosecution. So essentially, they were going to decide whether this was true or not without seeing any evidence or hearing from any witnesses.
Wow.
How is that not a fit up?
Yeah. You can get away with doing that shit.
But they can get away with doing that shit. And very unsurprisingly, guess what? It got away with that shit. They all voted, every one of them voted against their party lines. So all of the Democrats voted to impeach Trump, all of the Republicans voted to set him free, and the Republicans have more votes because they control the House. There was one exception, and that was Mitt Romney, who actually voted to prosecute Donald, even though he's a Republican, and now basically he's become a pariah within his own party. And they're all gunning for him because he decided to go against the Donald.
Bad, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. And then the first thing that happened once Donald gets away with it, he goes, I've been vindicated, I'm free, I've been proven innocent. No, you haven't. You've just gotten away with it again. That's all that's happened. You've gotten away with it again. You little shit. And then he's got the gall to go around firing everyone who had anything to do with the prosecution. There was a guy involved who gave evidence, right? He didn't just sack him. He had a twin brother who also worked in government. He sacked his brother as well, who had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
These actions, actually, when you're saying before about like Nazism, right? These are like early Nazism. You've got. He's basically weeding out anyone who would say no to him. If you're not...
All of his political rivals,
If you're not 100% pro-Donald, he's weeding you out and you're gone. He's getting away with everything under the sun. And when it comes to actions of law enforcement, for example, when we said before, he's actually like condoning and promoting the fact of take the kid from
the parents.
But what you're doing is actually you're testing how far you can push.
Yeah, you're testing the
You're going
boundaries.
for- Yeah. And by doing this, and then get them used to that and slowly up it. You know, how far will you go when I give you an order?
Yeah.
Do you know the
It's
thing
quite
that you
scary,
hear as
that
well?
is.
The one thing that you hear from him a lot, and especially now, he's saying, I know I'm going to win the second term. I can only do another term. Not unless you wanted me to. I mean, we could change the rules. I can possibly do a third. But no, I mean, that's against the rules. Unless you want me to change them. Because we could do that. We could change them. But no, it's against the rules. And he's testing the waters. And you can see he's testing the waters. He's trying to stay in. His idols are people like Erdogan and Putin and Kim Jong-il who rule with an iron fist and stay in for life. That's what he wants, and that's what his goal is. Now, we're going to have to leave it there because realistically, we could go on all day. But we haven't mentioned how many reshuffles he's had, how long you usually last in Donald Trump's cabinet.
Well, you got to have reshuffles because he gets rid of you every 5 seconds.
This is what I mean. He gets rid of everyone every 5 seconds. We haven't mentioned all of the other gaffes that he's had. We haven't even mentioned his wife and the stuff that she's done, like where she's actively bullied people on Twitter and then being part of an anti-bullying campaign. There is so much stuff that we could go into about this guy. We haven't touched on his daughter and all the crap she gets up to and all the corrupt shit that she's involved in, including a Trump Tower in Azerbaijan, which was funded by dirty money that was funneled through a corrupt government from corrupt people. There is so much that we could talk about on this guy.
It's just, we'd be here forever, folks. But what we do hope is this is give you an insight into the man himself, you know, his background, his history. We hope when you listen to these that you do have some idea. For our American fans out there,
hope we haven't turned off a lot of yous.
Yeah, well, maybe we've opened
sure
your
a couple
eyes.
of Trump voters might have heard this and been like, fuck you!
Yeah. Even if you are Trump voter, right? You know what? If you've made it this far, you're open-minded enough to maybe take in information and do your own research, have a little look at it and think, has this fella got the best interest for my country?
Not just
for your
himself.
Own. Yeah, not just himself, not just yourself, but for the country. Like, we can only say as spectators that it's crazy and scary and quite amazing to watch. We have our own Trump at the moment and we're trying to deal with that crap.
And I mean, realistically, he's copying his playbook.
We're going there, aren't we?
Everything that's happening with you guys, we're getting a little bit of it coming our way as well.
We're getting a filtered version of it.
We are getting a filtered version. He's trying it through the Brit filter, but it's still getting through.
Yeah.
With a quirky toffee uppercut.
But really though, I hope through this last series, I know it's been a little longer than we thought it would be initially, but I think we've gotten a fair amount of information through, and I think we've had a fairly interesting time giving it to you. So I hope that you've come away either a bit more knowledgeable or you at least had a couple of laughs. Yeah.
If you walk away pissed off or enraged.
Yeah, enraged is fine. Because I know the one thing that I'm going to take from these 6 episodes is that realistically, Friedrich Drumpf was a fucking badass. And he never should have had kids.
when he slid down
he should have written a
in
book
a hotel, right?
and lost his nuts. Yeah. That's what should have happened. Someone hit him with a pickaxe while eating one of his horse burgers, right square in the nuts, and we wouldn't be in this mess.
Could have saved the world. You know, Boris might not have learned a sneaky way in which to get in charge.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be in this shit.
Aye, yeah.
Maybe someone with more, I don't know, political nous would have actually talked Kim Jong-il down rather than just going and having sandwiches with him in the demilitarized zone and then going away. There's a lot of ifs and buts and maybes, but you know what? It's been all right doing this one. This was it was a bit easier.
A lot of information,
a bit easier than the Brexit one that we did last in our last big deep dive.
Yeah. There is a lot out there, folks, and we hope we've kind of covered enough to interest you, maybe to just go and mooch favour yourself. Go have a little dig.
Oh, keep digging. You'll never ever leave the rabbit hole. It'll
you will be lost. It's a labyrinth, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we do really appreciate you listening. We are going to be going on a small hiatus for a few weeks. We're not entirely sure when we're going to be getting back, but it's down to one of our compadres, our little git, moving away. Relocating, and hopefully when he gets himself sorted, we can start picking this back up again and we can start recording back up. But for the next few weeks, we're not going to have anything regular out. We may try and drop some stuff on social media, or if we get the chance, we may get a couple of short episodes out, but we haven't got anything planned. We will keep you in the loop, though, when we do come back. But for now, again, please share this around, because if we've got a nice, decent fan base to come back to, that'd be really, really nice. I'd love that. That'd be great. We've got a reason to come back, people to listen to us.
Show the love, folks, and we'll show it back.
Yeah, I mean, for God's sake, if you manage to blow us up to like a couple of million listeners, then realistically, I mean, Eden's not going anywhere. I'll drag him back by his nipples. He's living on this podcast if we get that amount.
I'm cartwheeling back at it.
Oh God, no.
Okay, maybe don't listen.
And we will post that, goddamn.
Yeah, if we hit 1 million listeners, Ian's going to do a streak and we're going to film the lot.
Oh God.
Round Parliament.
Yeah. But no, seriously though, check down in our description. As always, check our social media links. Please like, share, subscribe, pass us on, and when we do get back to recording, we will let you guys know, and hopefully you'll still be with us to have a good listen.
Alright,
folks.
See you later once again, folks.
Much love, folks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.